In this video, we'll show you how to start a fashion, beauty, or lifestyle blog using WordPress for 2018 and 2019. Regardless of whether you want to learn how to start a fashion blog like this one, how to start a beauty blog similar to this, or how to start a lifestyle blog like this, we'll walk you through the step-by-step process of how to do it. For this WordPress blog tutorial, we'll show you how to create this exact fashion blog. Along the way, we'll show you how you could very easily create and customize any of these other layout options here via a simple one-click install feature to make a modern beauty blog, a minimalist lifestyle blog, engaging personal blog, or entertaining magazine style blog, as well as a number of other niche specific blogs to ensure you end up with the exact blog you want and create something you're proud of. The blog will help you build is 100% mobile responsive, SEO friendly, and features an intuitive and beginner friendly drag and drop page builder that allows you to customize your blog to suit your style. So if that sounds good, then let's get to it. On the OHKLYN blog, we've created a step-by-step guide that you can follow along with for free. The link will be in the description below and in the info card for this video. Here, you'll find the written instructions as well as any links mentioned in this video. We would recommend opening the post in a new tab so you can follow along. For this tutorial, we will use the Cheer Up WordPress theme by ThemeSphere. Via the description below and on the OHKLYN post here, you'll be able to access the theme as well as view the live demo. Similarly, to show you how to start your fashion, beauty or lifestyle blog with WordPress, we suggest using Bluehost as your hosting provider. With the link in the description below and on the OHKLYN post here, you'll be able to access discount hosting and a free domain name if you haven't purchased one already. We'll cover the steps on how to do this shortly. If you've got your domain and hosting already, that's fine too. You'll still be able to follow along. Before we start installing WordPress and creating posts, it's important to take a moment to define your target audience, identify your niche, and consider the things that will make your blog uniquely you and entice users to engage. During this process, it would be wise to define the objectives and goals for your blog, as this will have a significant impact on how you approach building your fashion, beauty, or lifestyle blog. You should also establish your objective, which could be to grow subscribers to your newsletter, promote your business, products, or personal brand, develop a community who engage with and share your content, grow your social media following, create a portfolio for guest blogging opportunities, make money by either an online store, affiliates, or advertising, or perhaps something entirely different. Whatever it is, make sure it's clear. In the article on the OHKLYN blog, we provide you with a broader insight into why you would want to start your own blog. Feel free to pause the video and read through it if you feel you need more guidance. It's important that you have a firm grip on the goal and identity of your blog before you begin. By now, you may have already decided on a name for your blog. However, if you haven't, on the OHKLYN post there's a few things you should consider, such as, is the name unique and memorable? Is it a name you can scale and grow with? The value of keeping the name of your blog as short as possible? And of course, is the domain name available? To check if the domain name you want to use is available, follow the Check Domain Availability button on the OHKLYN post here. That will take you through to the Bluehost site. From here, hover over the hosting in the top menu and select Domain. From here, enter the domain name and choose the free domain extension you want. If your domain name is available, you will be taken to a page to review and purchase it. Alternatively, if it's not available, you will be shown other options, or you will need to try something else. We'll cover off purchasing your hosting and securing your free domain name in the next step. Lastly, there are a few important attributes that the success of a blog largely hinges on. consistent and quality content, great design and user experience, insatiability. Your blog needs to focus on a topic that you simply can't get enough of, an engaged community. There are also a few things you'll need to make the process of creating your blog a lot smoother. These are a must-have for any blog or website. They will be used throughout your site on every page and help all of your website look coherent throughout. A logo. Make sure that you have all the variations you need, like a horizontal and vertical version, dark and light version, as well as different sizes so that it fits perfectly wherever you use it. Favicon. This is the logo your website will display in the browser tab. It's usually square, but you can create the illusion of an irregular shape by using an image with a transparent background, like a .png. Brand color palette. A coherent design always starts with a brand color palette. This usually consists of a main color as well as a few complementary colors. Tools like Paletton.com, Adobe Color, or ColorHex.com can help you pick a color palette. A small budget of $100 to $150. This will fund the cost of your domain, hosting, premium WordPress theme, images, if you require any, and if you want to hire a designer to create some of your branding assets, it may be up to $300. We have created an article that details the expenses you will face as you build your website or blog on this article on the OHKLYN blog. Okay, so before we get started, let's go through what you need to prepare. One of the biggest mistakes beginners make when starting a fashion blog is that they forget to begin with the end in mind. Thinking about what you want to ultimately achieve with your blog will make the process a whole lot smoother and produce a better result. One way to do this is to think about the individual blog posts you want to include and the categories you'll use to group these on your blog. You'll also use categories as a tool for visitors to navigate your site. For popular lifestyle blogs, common categories include fashion, which can be further divided into brands or seasons, beauty, travel, or food, etc. A good approach here is to find a blog in a similar niche and analyze how they use categories to structure their content as well as how they are used for navigation. The idea isn't to copy what someone else is doing, but to figure out what you think works well and how you can improve the experience of your blog. Once again, invest some time in the strategy side of planning out your blog content. By taking a moment to sketch out the sitemap of your blog, you will find that you get a much better result. You may want to do some keyword research or use a tool like SEMrush, which we'll add a link to on the OHKLYN post here, to analyze a competitor and understand which of their posts are the most popular and driving the most traffic to their site. If learning how to drive organic traffic to your blog is important to you, we're recording an SEO for WordPress course at the moment, which will walk you through how to do this successfully. We took OHKLYN from 0 to 8K in organic monthly search traffic in 6 months, using this strategy. So if that's of interest to you, you can pre-register at courses.ohklyn.com. We'll upload the beginner's guide to our YouTube channel shortly, so subscribe to our YouTube channel and keep an eye out for that. If you haven't already, the first step is to register your domain, set up your website hosting account, and install WordPress for your website. Before we go ahead, let's go over some important concepts. Your domain, or URL, is the web address for your website, and is what users will type into their browsers to access your site. For OHKLYN, it's OHKLYN.com. Pick something that works for you. Hosting is what allows your website to be accessible to users 24/7. It's the process of storing the content and data for your website on a web server and serving it to users. For this tutorial, we'll walk you through getting started with Bluehost, as we believe it's the best option for beginners. So, let's go through the steps for setting up hosting for your blog and registering your free domain with Bluehost. Here is a list of the types of domains that are included for free, the most common being a .com, or .co. If you've already purchased your domain, or if you want to purchase an alternative top-level domain, such as something relevant to your niche, or a country-specific domain like .co.uk or .com.au, you can purchase that domain through a registrar like GoDaddy, Crazy Domains, or any other domain registrar. We'll add some links below. If you go with that option, or if you've already secured your domain name, all you need to do is then change what is called the domain name service to point at Bluehost, which will be your new hosting provider. Fortunately, we've written an article and a step-by-step guide on how to do this, which you can access here. To get started, follow the Bluehost link in the description below, or if you're on the OHKLYN website, follow this button here. We'll then click on Get Started Now. You'll then select the plan that's right for you. If you intend to have just the one domain, then the first option will be fine. Alternatively, if you want to have multiple domains on the one hosting account like we do, then you'll need to select one of the other plans. You can always amend this down the track. The great thing about Bluehost is that you get a 30-day money-back guarantee on any plan, so you can get started risk-free. For this example, we'll select the first option. To get your free domain name, you'll enter the desired domain name for your website into the new domain field and select the domain extension you want, for example, .com, and hit Next. If the domain name isn't available, you'll get an error message and will need to either select an alternate domain name or try to contact the owner of the domain to purchase it from them, or select another top-level domain extension. If you've already purchased your domain name, enter your domain name in the Transfer Domain field and select Next. Remember to review the article on how to change the DNS records to point at Bluehost. To set up your hosting account, enter in the required account information. In the Package Information section, choose your desired hosting term and domain add-on preferences. We recommend selecting Domain Privacy Protection so that the personal information that's associated to your domain isn't publicly available. This is optional, of course. Once you've entered in the required information, add your payment details, review the terms, and select Submit. Once you've done that, you'll be taken to this page here. You would have been sent a confirmation email to the designated email address on the account, as well as a WHOIS verification email. Follow the link in that email to verify the email associated to your new domain. You will need to create a password for your hosting account. To do that, click on Create Your Password. Make sure to pick a secure password. You could use the Suggest Password tool to help you with this. Once you've entered in your password, review the terms of use and select Next. You will then be able to log into your Bluehost dashboard. As part of the new Bluehost offering, WordPress will automatically be installed on your new domain. If you've registered your domain elsewhere, you'll need to amend the DNS records to point at Bluehost and install WordPress using the Bluehost one-click WordPress install. For the steps on how to do this, review our article on the OHKLYN blog. You can follow this link on the tutorial post here. You can choose to install one of the free pre-selected WordPress themes on your domain. However, with WordPress themes, you typically get what you pay for. As premium themes are regularly updated when WordPress changes, they're often more secure. They provide you with access to support, as well as a greater range of design and customization options. So for this tutorial, we'll use a premium WordPress theme and select Skip this step. WordPress will now be installed on your domain. To access the backend of your WordPress website, click Start Building. This will prompt a guided tour, which you can choose to run through or not. We'll go through this in our tutorial, so we'll click on I don't need help. This will take you to the Bluehost tab within the backend of your WordPress website. To access your WordPress dashboard, click on Dashboard in the menu on the left. There will be a number of notifications that you can action or dismiss by clicking on the X in the top right corner. You can amend what's visible on your dashboard by clicking on the Screen Options drop-down in the top right corner and checking or unchecking the boxes. a number of additional plugins will be installed. You can view these by hovering over plugins in the admin menu on the left and selecting Installed Plugins. In addition to the standard WordPress plugins, Bluehost will install a few other plugins like Jetpack, Mojo Marketplace, etc. You can leave these active or choose to deactivate and delete these plugins. We'll leave this up to you. We'll delete ours, as we like to use as few plugins as possible. This can be done in bulk, by selecting the checkbox next to the plugin, choosing Deactivate from the Bulk Actions drop-down, and then clicking Apply. We'll then delete all of the selected plugins by selecting them and hitting Delete. Then return back to the WordPress dashboard. If we enter our domain name into a browser, we'll see that WordPress is now installed. Congratulations! You officially have a new WordPress website. It's not much at the moment, but you're a lot closer than you realize. As part of this process, we'll provide a link to our video on how to set up your free SSL certificate, which will encrypt the data on your site. This is best practice as it improves the security on your site, allows you to take payments on your site, and will improve your Google rankings. Okay, we've covered preparation, as well as registering your domain, setting up hosting, and installing WordPress. We can now move on to step number 3, which is the fundamentals of WordPress. Whenever you want to log into your WordPress website, enter your domain and add /wp-admin to the end, such as example.com/wp-admin. Then enter your username and password set up in the prior step. You'll then be taken to your WordPress dashboard. We've installed WordPress in a development environment. It's a clean WordPress install, so it should look the same. However, if it's slightly different, don't worry, the fundamentals will all be the same. We would, however, recommend installing a Coming Soon plugin so you can launch your site properly once you're ready for the world to see it. We'll add a link to a video on how to do this in the description below. For similar videos and tips as you build out your website, subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out the videos section. The WordPress dashboard or admin panel is broken down into 3 main sections. At the top, we have the WordPress toolbar. The menu or admin menu is located on the left-hand side, and the main admin areas in the middle, where we will do most of our work. We'll give you a brief overview of each section now. However, for a more detailed overview, watch our free How to Use a WordPress tutorial, which is an introduction to WordPress for beginners. This is intended to get you up to speed on the fundamentals of how WordPress works in about an hour. Alright, so the WordPress toolbar at the top is dynamic and adjusts the available options depending on which page you're on, and if you're viewing the page from the front or the back end. The admin menu located to the left of your dashboard is separated into 3 main sections. These are the dashboard section, the content management section, and the site administration section. The dashboard section provides easy access to the dashboard, updates, and additional plugin features. The content management section is where you create and manage posts, pages, media items, comments, and additional plugin features. The site administration section is where you configure the design and appearance settings for your website, including selecting the active theme for your website, creating and managing menus, widgets, and customizing your website's theme. It's also where we manage plugins, users, control global WordPress settings, and activated theme and plugin extensions like SEO, social sharing, theme-specific settings, and security. We'll go through some practical examples for each of these in the coming sections once we upload our theme and start working with content. However, one thing we recommend doing before we move on is updating the permalink structure of your website. This will impact how your URL strings will be created for pages, posts, etc. To do this, hover over Settings in the admin menu. This is where you'll manage your global WordPress settings. We covered these in detail in our How to Use a WordPress tutorial. Then select Permalinks. The default option leverages a more general approach, featuring the date in the permalink. However, The more common option and what we'd recommend from an SEO and UX perspective is post name. So we'll select that option and save our changes. You can learn more about each option under the Help tab and choose the best option for you. We recommend doing this before you start creating content so that your URLs are created the way you want. Also, if you want to update your user profile or add users to your website, you can do this by hovering over users in the admin menu on the left and selecting from the options here. Alright, moving on. The menu is fully responsive, meaning that as the screen size gets smaller, the menu adjusts to remain accessible on all types of devices. Lastly, the main admin area serves as our primary workspace and adjusts depending on what's selected from the admin menu. We'll draw your attention to the Screen Options tab in the top right corner. When you open this tab, you'll see a list of options and features that are available for display depending on which page you're on. Similarly, the Help tab to the right shows you helpful hints for the page that you're on, as well as links to relevant documentation. Once again, for a detailed walkthrough of WordPress, we recommend watching our How to Use WordPress tutorial. Okay, now that we've touched on the fundamentals of WordPress, let's move on to choosing and uploading your WordPress theme. A WordPress theme is a group of files that work with the underlying WordPress software to enhance the design and functionality of your WordPress website. For a more detailed overview, check out our What is a WordPress Theme article on the OHKLYN blog. There are both free and premium themes that you can use for your website. The main benefits of using a premium theme is enhanced security, access to support, the inclusion of more extensive theme documentation or instructions, extended functionality, and access to demo content and pre-built layouts, which for around $50 to $100 is good value. Premium support packages can cost $50 a month, so the fact that this is included in a premium theme makes it a smart investment. On the OHKLYN blog, we've analyzed hundreds, if not thousands of WordPress themes based on speed, design, ease of use, mobile responsiveness, and functionality, which you can access via the WordPress theme reviews category on the OHKLYN blog. For this tutorial, we'll use our top-rated fashion blog theme, Cheer Up by ThemeSphere. To access the theme and any discounts when they're available, from the OHKLYN post, click on this button here. This will take you through to Theme Forest, which is one of the largest premium WordPress theme marketplaces. From here, click on Buy Theme to purchase a copy of the Cheer Up WordPress theme for a once-off fee. Then, go to Checkout to finalize your purchase. If you haven't got a Theme Forest account, you'll need to create one here. Add your billing information. Then select your payment method. Once you've done that, you will then be able to download the theme files. From within your profile, head to Downloads. Next to the Cheer Up theme, click on Download and select All Files and Documentation. You should also download the license certificate and purchase code. If we unzip the Theme Forest file that we downloaded, within there, you'll see the cheerup.zip, which is the WordPress theme file. Leave this unzipped as we'll upload this to WordPress directly. There is also a cheerup-child folder with the style sheet which you can use if you want to use a child theme. To use a child theme, you will need to upload the cheerup.zip file first, and then follow the instructions in the Cheerup documentation. There is an article on the OHKLYN blog explaining what a child theme is if you want more information on that. The last thing we'll draw your attention to is the documentation folder, which includes a documentation.html file. If you open this file, it will take you through to the offline theme documentation and video tutorials for Cheerup. If you decide to go with a different premium theme, they will most likely have something similar. Click on this link here to go to the online and more up-to-date documentation. We'll keep this open as it is a resource we will continually come back to. Let's move on to uploading our WordPress theme. To upload and install our WordPress theme, from your WordPress dashboard, hover over Appearance in the admin menu on the left and select Themes. From here, select Add New. Then click Upload Theme. select Choose File. Navigate to the .zip file you downloaded earlier and select Open. In our case, it's the cheerup.zip file. If you're using a different theme, find the theme.zip file. Click Install Now. This will start the process to upload and install the WordPress theme. Give it a moment to finish. Once the theme is successfully installed, click Activate and your new theme will now be live on your website. If you want to install the child theme, follow the steps in the documentation. The first thing we need to do is install and activate any plugins that are required by the WordPress theme we've just installed. In this case, we'll see a notification at the top of the page. To do this, click on Begin Installing Plugin. We'll bulk select the required plugins and click Install. That will install all the required plugins. This may take a minute or two. We'll check the status. Then, we can return to the dashboard. You'll notice that a few new tabs have been created in the admin menu on the left. Like many premium WordPress themes, Cheerup requires you to activate the theme on your site to make sure you're using a legal copy. To do this, click the link on this prompt or click on Cheerup in the admin menu. Then, click the Register and Activate button. This will take you through to Envato, where you'll need to log into your Envato account if you're not automatically logged in. You will then need to authorize ThemeSphere activation to connect with your account by clicking Approve. That's it. Your theme should now be activated and all the features should be available. If you're using another premium theme, there should be a similar process. Okay, let's move on to customizing our blog. By now, your WordPress blog will be set up correctly with your WordPress theme installed along with any required plugins. We can now start customizing your fashion, beauty or lifestyle blog to suit your style. The first thing we will do is bring the demo content from the live preview that resonates most with you. On the OHKLYN post here, you can follow the button to review the available options. What we'll do in this section is show you how to import the demo content via the one-click demo importer. We'll also look at how to upload your logo and branding elements, how to update the theme settings, how to create pages, posts and categories, how to update the menu and navigation, how to update the sidebar, how to update the footer, and lastly, how to delete the demo content you don't want to use. There are two options for importing the demo content. The first option is to import the full demo content, and the second is to import the customization settings only. As it suggests, if you've got existing content on your WordPress site, use the second option. If it's a new blog, then you can use either option. Because we want to bring in all the demo content, we'll use option 1. To import the demo content, from your WordPress dashboard, hover over Appearance or Cheerup and select Import Demos. If you don't see this option, make sure you've installed the required plugins. From there, scroll through and select the demo example that you want to import. In our case, we'll use the Cheerup General option. From the drop-down, choose Full Content to install all the demo content and settings. Then, select Import. This is uploading a huge amount of data, so give this a few minutes for it to import all the content. You may want to pause the video while the content is uploaded, as this can take up to 5 or so minutes. Once you see the import is successful message, you should run the Regenerate Thumbnails plugin from the prompt here. This is important if you had another demo content installed, as it will ensure all the image thumbnails are replaced with the new ones. When it's done, hover over your site name in the toolbar at the top left and select Visit Site. You'll see that the demo content is all imported, and you're now very close to having your very own blog. We now just need to go and customize it with your brand elements and replace the content with your own. Let's start with uploading your logo and other branding elements. One of the things we like about this theme is that the customization options are built into the native WordPress theme customizer. While we're not going to go through every theme setting, we'll cover the ones that will be most important to most people. And for everything else, there's the theme documentation and videos. To access the customization settings, from your WordPress dashboard, hover over Appearance and select Customize. Or hover over Cheer Up and select Customize. From here, you're able to customize almost every inch of your blog. On the left-hand side are your theme customization options, and on the right is the live preview panel which features your home page. As you make changes on the left, you will be able to preview these in real time via the panel on the right. We'll go through a number of the customization options together. However, we encourage you to go through all the options and play around with the various settings. Below, you can switch between desktop, tablet and mobile view at any time to make sure it looks great on all devices. Depending on which demo example you imported, the settings may be slightly different. However, you'll still be able to follow along. Similarly, if you've selected a different theme to use, you'll be best off following along with the theme documentation for your specific theme. However, we'll cover off the fundamentals of updating widgets, menus and creating pages and posts, which will be very similar. The first thing we'll want to do is update our logo, favicon and set our brand accent color, which for our case will be a teal color with a hexadecimal color code of hashtag 1FBDCA. To upload our logo, we'll navigate to the header /logo and navs tab, then to the logos tab. You'll notice that this theme supports additional logo sizes, which gives you more control over the appearance of your logo on Retina devices. Usually, you should upload a logo with twice the resolution to be used on Retina displays. Select Change Image. This takes you to your WordPress media library, which is where all the media you upload to your site will live. You can either select an image to use as your logo or upload your logo via either dragging your logo in or by selecting Upload Files, then clicking on Select Files and uploading your logo this way. Whenever you upload images to your blog, it's a good idea to add an alt text which adds metadata to your image and amongst other benefits can be a positive thing from an on-page SEO perspective. To set your logo, select Choose Image. Repeat the process to update the various sizing options for your logo, or remove the other options. The last one is a logo for Retina-ready mobile devices. If we go back and then into the General and Top Bar tab, you're able to amend the header and menu style for your blog. For example, you could go with a nav below option like this one, or any other of the options featured here. As you can see, for some options you'd need to upload a different size logo. We'll choose the special top bar with nav below option. Below, you can choose to upload a header image that will act as a background for your logo here. The first option will only use the image to cover the dimensions of the logo, while the full width option will cover the entire screen. Let's choose a full width image. We'll go with this one here. As you can see, your logo now has a background image. Be careful of using an image with a color similar to your logo, as it might obscure it. Under top bar, you can choose a dark top bar with light text or a light top bar with dark text. You can also show or hide the search option here. If you wanted an online store and installed the WooCommerce plugin, you'd be able to hide or show your shopping cart over here. You've then got the ability to disable the sticky header, which is the navigational panel that sticks to the top of the browser as the user scrolls down the page like this. Whenever you make changes via the theme customizer, remember to publish your changes to commit them. We'll select Publish, then head back to the main customization panel. The next thing we'll do is add our favicon. For this, we'll go into General Settings, then into Site Identity. Here, you can change our site title and tagline as well as upload a favicon. Either select your favicon from your media library or upload your favicon file by following the same process you used to upload your logo beforehand. Once your favicon is there, give it an alt text and then click Select. If you don't need to, you can click Skip Cropping. If you publish the changes, navigate to your home page and refresh the page, you'll notice that your logo is there and the favicon you added is now the tab window at the top. Let's head back to the main customization panel and take a look at how we can add our brand colors to customize our blog even further. To do this, navigate to the Colors and Styles tab, and then into the General tab. Change the main theme color by clicking Select Color and entering your brand color #1FBDCA. You'll see it update some of the links and text on our preview. There are a number of other color settings. The post body option will change the text color of blog excerpts. You then have the option to change various background colors of the site and the footer at the bottom. You can reset settings to their default at any time by selecting Default. If we go back into the Header tab, you can then change the top bar background color, the color of the social icons, and the search icon color. You can also adjust the padding to give the header area more or less padding. We'll change both to 80 to give it a bit more space. In the Navigation tab, you can change the main menu link color here, or for the drop-down menu here. We'll keep the default but set the hover color for both to our brand color of #1FBDCA. The hover color is the color a link changes to when you mouse over it with the cursor. The Featured Slider tab lets you customize the overlay colors for some of the demo themes' featured sliders. The next tab is the Post and Listings tab. These change the colors for your blog posts. You should be careful changing these here as they are global settings. This means that they change the color of the option on every page of your site. For example, if we change the post title color, you'll see that the text color changes here, like it did before. However, if we click on the post, you'll see it also changed within the post itself. So we'll leave all of these at their defaults. The next tab is the Sidebar tab, where you can set colors for your sidebar text and background. The sidebar is this area filled with widgets here. We'll customize this later on. Lastly, you can set a background image here. Okay, so as you can see, we've updated all our branding elements. It will take a bit of time to go through and adjust all the color settings to align with your brand. But the good news is that it's all managed from one place, which is great, particularly if you have to change a lot later on. In the next few sections, we'll go through how you add content to your blog in terms of posts, pages, categories, as well as show you how to update the sidebar, footer, and navigation elements of your site. For now, we'll take a quick look at how you can customize your blog using the theme settings. Once you've added all your content in, we'd recommend that you come back to this section as you may want to tweak a few of these options. So far we've looked at the header, logo and nav, and color and style options. We're not going to go into all of the theme settings tabs, however, we'll cover those that are the most important. In the Change Skin tab, you can change which demo you want to use. This will just change the style of the page, but not your settings. Firstly, we'll look at styling your home page. So, navigate to the Home Page tab. The first tab is Home Layout. Here you can change the layout, especially how posts are displayed on your feed. At the bottom, you can also choose how many posts should be displayed on your home page. Next is the Home Slider tab. You can choose from a number of slider styles. You can also choose how many slides there should be. The slider posts tag is a handy feature. We'll show you how to add tags to your posts later on. If you leave this empty, your latest posts will automatically be used in the slider. If you enter a tag, only posts with that tag will be displayed in your slider. You can also add a parallax scroll effect if you use the full width slider. You can also choose whether the slideshow should be automatic, choose between a fade or slide in animation, and set the slide time. Each thousandth is 1 second. The next tab is the Home Carousel, which is this belt of posts below the slider. You can enable or disable it here. Once again, you can choose between a style, how many posts you want, and which posts to use by tag. Lastly, we have the Home Subscribe tab. Here, you can add a subscribe field to your home page. You will need to set up your MailChimp account first by following this link. You can also read more about it in the documentation. If we head back to the General Settings tab within the Customizer, in the Categories and Archives tab is where you'll be able to make significant changes to the appearance of your blog's category and archive pages. The settings are very similar to the homepage settings. To show what this is referring to, let's head to the homepage of the blog. If we click the category for one of our posts, it will take us through to this page here. This is what's referred to as an archive page, as it archives all posts related to this specific category. To provide a practical example, you might add your categories to your menu to help users navigate to sections of your blog that appeal to them. When the user clicks on that link, they will be taken through to this page for the category they select. Hopefully that makes sense. Let's head back to the Theme Customizer. This tab here is where you'll control the layout for your category archive pages, as well as tag archive pages, if you make use of tags, and the search results page. If we click on Fashion here, you'll be able to see the changes you make to the archive pages. For example, we can set it to one large post plus grid to look more like the home page. We can also choose to hide the sidebar or move it to the right. Have a look through the rest of the available options to see what works best for you. Next up is the Social Media Links tab. Here, you can add links to your social media profiles to take visitors to if they click on them. For example, we'll add a link to the OHKLYN Facebook page here, and a link to the OHKLYN Instagram page here. If we visit our home page and we click on the links, you'll see it take you to the respective profiles. In Layout and Miscellaneous, you can set more layout options like making the sidebar sticky, etc. In the WooCommerce tab, you would style how products are displayed on your home page. If you go back to the main Customizer tabs, the next section we will explore is Posts and Listings. These settings style the look of posts within post lists in your home page, category or archive pages, or individual post pages. In Common Post settings, you can choose what metadata shows alongside blog posts. For example, whether it shows the category, published date, and the number of likes or comments. Under Single Post, you can make changes to individual post pages. For example, if we go to a post page, you can see how we can change the style, or show or hide certain elements like tags, post sharing options, related posts, etc. In post listings, you can further customize how posts are displayed. These are very similar to the common post settings. To see the changes, let's go back to the home page. If you scroll down under pagination, you can choose whether to show page numbers or a load more button to navigate to more posts. Right at the bottom, you can set the length of the excerpts for posts by entering a value here. You can also do this from the actual post editor in WordPress. We'll show you how to do this later on. Lastly, we have the Pinterest tab. Here, you can add the pinned Pinterest icon to images. The last main customization tab we will cover is the Typography and Fonts tab. Under Font and Styles, you can set the main fonts used throughout your blog. The primary font will be used for your blog post content, and the secondary font will be used for your headings, links, and metadata. You can also style your widget titles, which are in these boxes here. There are then also options for the navigation links and various post titles. At the bottom of the tab, you can set the individual heading sizes. For example, we'll increase the size of our H2s to 30. Okay, so that's the main styling options you need to be aware of and become comfortable using to style your blog. The best way to get to grips with them all is to play around with the settings and to refer to the specific sections in the documentation if you need help or clarification. In addition to the main styling options we just covered, there is also footer settings, which we'll come back to later, custom CSS, etc. WooCommerce options are there if you want to include a store as part of your blog. For this, you'll need to install the free WooCommerce plugin first. There are also a number of other customization options which may not be as relevant for this tutorial, but feel free to explore these as you go through. If you ever make a mistake you don't know how to fix, you can reset all your customization settings under Reset. Then select Reset All Settings. Anytime you make changes to your theme settings via the theme customizer, remember to click Publish to commit your changes. Next, we'll move on to how to create pages and posts in WordPress. We'll start by creating the pages we need for our blog. If you refer back to our blog structure document, we can see that the pages we need to create are our homepage, About, Contact, Disclosure, and Privacy Policy page. In regards to our homepage, we're going to use the default latest post page as our homepage. However, if you want to create a different page and set it as your homepage, there's a section in the documentation that shows you how to create a homepage from scratch using the WP Bakery plugin. Similarly, we've added a link to a WP Bakery tutorial on the OHKLYN post here for those who want to create custom layouts for any of the pages on their blog. We'll also provide you with a quick introduction to the WP Bakery plugin later on. Once you've created the page you want to use as your homepage, you'll need to set it as your homepage by hovering over Settings in the admin menu and selecting Reading. From there, under the Your Homepage Displays option, you'll select a static page, and then select the page you want to set as your homepage from the homepage dropdown. Remember to save your changes if you want to set a static homepage. In our case, we'll select the default Your Latest Posts option and head back to our WordPress dashboard. In WordPress, the pages for your blog will be managed under Pages in the admin menu. By hovering over Pages, you can either view all pages or add a new page. Let's click on All Pages for now. If you've imported the demo content, you'll notice that there's a number of pages that have been created already. Towards the end of this tutorial, we'll go through and show you how to delete all the content you don't want. For our purposes, we'll use the Contact Me and About Shane pages that have already been created. However, we'll remove the me and chain and update these to just be contact and about. To edit an existing page, either click the page title or hover over the page title and click edit. We'll edit the about chain page and remove the chain. We'll go through all these settings shortly, but for now, we'll just edit the page title by removing the chain, then we'll update the permalink to just about. Remember, if you change a permalink for your URL after you've published the post once, your blog is live, you'll need to do what's called a 301 redirect from the old URL to the new URL. This is to avoid Google having crawl errors or 404 page not found errors. The best way to do this is with a plugin like Simple 301 Redirects or something similar. Remember to update the page. We'll update the contact page in a similar way and skip ahead. Okay, let's move on to creating new pages. To create a new page, hover over Pages in the admin menu and select Add New. The first thing we'll do is give our page a title, in this case, Disclosure. When you click out of the title field, you'll notice that the permalink is automatically created for you. If you selected Post Name as your permalink structure earlier, then the page title will be used to create a URL for this page. If you want to edit the permalink, click on Edit and update the permalink for your URL for this page. If you've installed the WP Bakery plugin, you'll have the option to use either the front-end or back-end editor, or the classic WordPress editor. As this will just be a disclosure page with text, we'll just use the default WordPress editor. On the right-hand side, you have your preview and publish options at the top. Below that is the Page Attributes tab, where you can assign a parent page and access the default page templates for this theme. Below that, in the page options, you can choose to add a sidebar, show the page title, or enable the featured slider. We'll just add a sidebar. We'll paste in some demo content to fill out our page. When you're ready to publish your page, select Publish in the top right corner. Pause the video and go through and create the pages you want to include on your blog. We'll create the privacy page as per our initial blog structure map. Don't worry if you don't have all the content and structure organized yet. Remember, paint in broad strokes. Now, let's take a quick look at how to create blog posts and categories in WordPress. For the most part, you'll create blog posts the same way as you create the pages by hovering over posts and selecting Add New. The only difference being that you'll need to set up categories first by hovering over posts and selecting categories. Here is where you'll add the blog categories that you'll assign your blog posts to, by entering the category name and selecting Add New Category. If we quickly look at our site layout map, we'll set up the parent categories of Fashion, Beauty and Lifestyle, and Home, with subcategories underneath some parents. As you can see, some of these categories have already been created for us with the demo content. We'll add the category of Home by entering Home in the name field. You can create a custom slug, which is just a URL-friendly version of the category, without capital letters or spaces. If you leave this blank, one will be created for you. As this is a parent category, we'll leave the parent category option set to none. You can add an optional description, which may be visible in the front end of your blog, depending on your theme. We'll leave this blank and select Add New Category. You'll see this creates a new category in our category list on the right. To add a subcategory of products to our beauty category, we'll add this to our name field. Leave the slug blank, but select beauty as the parent category. Then select Add New Category. You'll see that our new category has been created as a subcategory of beauty. Repeat this process for all the categories you want to include on your blog. We'll pause the video and create the rest of our categories. Remember, a blog post can be assigned to multiple categories. If you want, you can delete the categories that have been imported in the demo content. The posts assigned to these categories won't be deleted, but rather they'll be assigned to uncategorized. In the next section, we'll show you how to create and assign blog posts to categories. Okay, so we've created our categories and deleted the categories that were created with the demo content that we didn't want to use. You'll see that our blog category structure now matches the blog sitemap we created earlier. Once you've created your categories, we now need to create a new blog post. To do this, hover over Post in the admin menu and select Add New. Add your blog post title. Then, add in some content. Select a category or categories for the post on the right-hand side. Assign a feature image by clicking on the Set Feature Image option on the right-hand side. You can either upload an image or select one from the media library. At the bottom, in the page options, you can once again decide if you want to enable a sidebar on this post. Below that, you can also change the layout. For example, we can choose Creative Overlay Style, which will place info on the featured image. Then, preview the post. If you're happy with it, you can publish it. If you recall, our feature slider will automatically pull posts with the slider tag. So if you want this post to feature in the slider, add a slider tag here and update it. You'll now be able to see your post featured in your featured slider. You can manage tags in a similar way to categories by hovering over posts in the admin menu and selecting tags. Here are all your tags and you can create, delete or edit existing ones. Lastly, if we navigate back to the home page, if you want to amend the amount of the feature article that's visible here, you can do this by adding a Read More tag. For example, if we click into the featured article on the home page and edit this from the back end, we can create a Read More link by clicking this Insert Read More link tag. By moving where the Read More tag is located in the article, we'll be able to increase or decrease the amount of the article that's featured. Remember that this will be affected by the excerpt length you set in the customizer. So you can see what we mean. We'll change its position in the article and update the page. If we refresh the home page, you'll see that it has now updated. On the OHKLYN post here, we've added a link to a detailed video on how to create and format blog posts in WordPress for those who want a little more guidance. For the other posts, lists, and grids that are being truncated, you'll be able to amend the length of the excerpt via the theme customizer. Similarly, for more info on anything that we've missed, remember to review the theme documentation. If we hover over posts in the admin menu and select all posts, you'll see that the newly created post is there, along with all the other posts that were created when we imported the demo content. Any posts you see with the category of uncategorized haven't been assigned to a category yet. At the end of this tutorial, we'll go through and delete all the posts you don't want to use. But for now, we'll just reassign the posts to our newly created categories so that we can maintain the structure of the blog until you have enough of your own content and are ready to go live. To do this, you can either click on the post name and edit it in the same environment where we created the post earlier. Alternatively, we can make quick edits by hovering over the post title and selecting Quick Edit. There are limited things you can edit here, however. This can be a useful shortcut. To change the category, we'll simply uncheck the old category in the category box and select the new category we want to assign. As we mentioned before, you can assign a post to multiple categories if it makes sense to do so. We'll go through this list of posts here and assign the uncategorized posts to our newly created categories and make sure we've got at least one post assigned to each category. We'd recommend you do the same. Pause the video and create any of the remaining pages, posts, and categories you want to include on your blog prior to launch. Next up, we'll move on to how to update the navigation and menu using the site structure map we created earlier. By now, you should have roughly created the pages, posts, and categories for your fashion, beauty, or lifestyle blog. Don't be concerned if you're not 100% sure on the exact structure. Remember, broad strokes for now. What we'll do now is create the menu structure for your blog so you can easily navigate around your blog while you continue to finalize your layouts and content. Menus in WordPress are created and managed in the dedicated menu section, which you can access by hovering over Appearance in the admin menu and selecting Menus. In the Menus page, you have two tabs at the top: Edit Menus and Manage Locations. As you can manage the menu locations within the Edit Menus tab as well, we'll primarily focus there. If you imported the demo content, you'll be able to select one of the pre-created menus from the drop-down list by choosing the menu you want and hitting Select. On the left, you have the available content that you can add to your menu, such as pages, posts, custom links, and categories. To add more options, click on the Screen Options tab at the top and check the boxes next to the elements you want to add to your menu. For example, tags. Under Screen Options, you can also enable the ability to set a link target for a menu item, which means whether the link opens in a new tab or not, as well as assign CSS classes, which is slightly more advanced than what we'll cover today. However, if you're interested in learning some HTML and CSS fundamentals for WordPress, register for one of our courses at courses.ohlyn.com. Back to the menu options. On the right, you have your menu structure. And the menu settings at the bottom is where you'll manage the location where this specific menu will be displayed. Rather than edit an existing menu, let's go through the steps of how to create a new menu and assign it as your main menu. To create a new menu, click on Create a New Menu. Enter a name for the menu. This is for your reference. We'll name ours Main Nav. Then select Create Menu. At the bottom of the page, select where you want the specific menu to be displayed. In our case, we'll select Primary Menu. To add menu items to your menu, select the element from the left and then click Add to Menu. For this example, we'll refer back to our blog sitemap and recreate this structure. Here, we can see that we have our 4 top-level categories of Fashion, Beauty, Lifestyle, and Home as our top-level navigation items, with their respective subcategories featured within. We can do this in a couple of ways, as either a mega menu or a classic tiered menu. To do this, from the Categories drop-down on the left, we'll go to the View All tab and select our 4 top-level categories by checking the box next to each. To add them to the menu, select Add to Menu. We can amend the order by clicking on the menu item and dragging it into position. In this case, we'll rearrange the order to Fashion, Beauty, Lifestyle, and then Home. To organize subcategories to sit underneath our top-level categories, simply select them in the same way from the left and add them to the menu. To add them as subcategories, drag and drop them underneath their respective top-level categories. We'll quickly go through and do this for all of ours. To set these as mega menus and feature the posts and categories in the navigation, we'll click on the drop-down arrow for the Fashion menu option. In the mega menu drop-down, select Enabled. We'll do the same for our Lifestyle category. You can also add a page to your menu. We will add the About page in the same way that we added categories. We'll then click Save Menu. To preview what this looks like, we'll navigate to the front end of our blog. Then refresh the page. When you hover over our Fashion or Lifestyle categories, you'll see that we now have this great mega menu that showcases the subcategories on the left and the post images and metadata on the right in a really engaging way. As you can see, if you don't have subcategories like the Fashion category, only the posts will display with their featured images. The other menu items like Beauty and Home will still have the standard drop-downs. Similarly, our About page is now also included in our primary menu. Let's head back to the menu section. Once again, pause the video and create the rest of your menu structure. You'll create other menus like your footer menu the same way. When you're happy with the structure, you can further customize the appearance of your menu via the Theme Customizer by hovering over Appearance in the admin menu and selecting Customize. Revisit the Header, Logo and Nav tab. Here, you can amend the header layout and menu style to suit your design. Review the theme documentation, specifically the menu section, for more info. Once you've got your primary navigation working the way you want it to, we can move on to updating the sidebar of your blog. The sidebar in WordPress is referred to as a widget-enabled area and allows you to set a global sidebar that appears on all pages, posts, archive pages, where a sidebar is enabled. If we navigate to the home page of our blog, when we refer to the sidebar, we are referring to this fixed panel over here. Now, to control the content that's visible via the sidebar, we'll go back to our dashboard. From the dashboard, hover over Appearance and select Widgets. On the left, you have all the available widgets, and on the right are the widget-enabled areas. With the Cheer Up theme, there are a number of widget-enabled areas. This is the main sidebar which we'll focus on in this section. In the next section, on updating your blog's footer, we'll look at the footer widget areas here. After this section, you'll understand how widgets work and will be able to use the various other widget-enabled areas supported with this theme, if you require. If you imported the demo content, there will be a number of widgets added to the various sidebars and other widget areas. If we open the homepage of our blog in a new tab, you'll see that on the right-hand side, this is the widget sidebar area. If we go back to the widget panel, you'll see that the same widgets that have been added to this area align with what's been displayed on our sidebar. To add a widget to the sidebar or any widget-enabled area, simply click on the widget on the left, select the widget-enabled area you want to add the widget to, and select Add Widget. Once the widget has been added, you can drag it into place. Click on the widget to amend its settings. Once you've updated the widget, hit Save. To delete the widget, click on the widget, then select Delete. Okay, so that's a crash course on widgets. There are theme-specific widgets that reference Cheer Up in the name, as well as the standard WordPress widgets. If you want to integrate your MailChimp account, you'll just need to follow these next steps. To connect your MailChimp account with your blog, log into your MailChimp account. You will need to create a list that you want subscribers to be added to. On the OHKLYN post here, we've added a link to a MailChimp tutorial for WordPress that may be helpful if you're new to MailChimp and email marketing. Once you've got your list set up, click on it. Then click on Sign Up Forms. Then on Embedded Forms. Copy the code under the copy paste onto your site box. Then navigate back to your widget area. Expand your MailChimp widget here. Then paste the code you copied into the MailChimp form submit URL field. Save your widget. Visitors will now be signed up to your mailing list if they enter their email into this widget. We recommend investing some time in going through all the widget options and settings available, removing widgets you don't want, and adding the elements you want. In the theme documentation here, there's a section on widgets that explains the Cheer Up specific widgets and guides you through how to get the most from them. Okay, so your blog should now be starting to take shape. There's a bit of a learning curve, so try not to feel too overwhelmed. Stick with it for a few weeks and you'll be through the steepest part of the learning curve. Remember to post any questions or comments via the comment section in YouTube, and we'll personally respond to every comment. Let's move on to customizing the footer of your blog. There are 3 components to managing the appearance of your footer. These are the upper footer area, lower footer area, and the footer widget areas. Let's explore all 3. First is the lower footer menu. Like the primary navigation we created earlier, you are able to create a footer menu in the same way. As per our original blog sitemap, we want to include a footer menu with links to our contact, disclosure, and privacy pages. To do this, let's open up the Theme Customizer in a new tab. If we scroll the preview pane down so that we can see the footer, Then navigate to the Footer Settings tab. You'll see two tabs, the General and Upper Footer tab and the Lower Footer tab. In the General and Upper Footer tab, you can choose between a number of layouts. If you want to add links in your footer, you'll need to choose the Bold Dark Footer Link Supported layout. We'll get to adding the links in a bit. You can also choose to disable the upper footer entirely. Depending on the demo content you imported, the layout structure of your footer widget area will be different. For this demo, the widget area is made up of 3 columns. Let's open up the Widgets panel in a new tab by hovering over Appearance in the admin menu and selecting Widgets. If we click into the footer widgets, you can see that this is where the content can be updated, changed, or deleted. Like we did before, you can add any widget to these widget areas or update the existing options to suit your design. If you don't want the Instagram feed at the bottom, you can disable this by deleting it via the Widgets panel. By opening the Footer Instagram widget area, then deleting the Instagram slider widget. Alternatively, you can have it load your own Instagram feed by entering your Instagram handle here. Lastly, if we navigate back to the customizer, let's go back up to the top of the Footer Options tab and go through the Lower Footer tab and scroll to the bottom. You're able to update or remove the copyright information via the copyright message input box. We'll delete what's there and add Made with Love by OHKLYN. Obviously, customize this to whatever you like. Below that, you can add any of the other social icons to your footer. Remember to add your account URL via the Social Icons tab if you want to link to it. Check the Enable Footer Links box. Then, publish your changes. Now, open the menu panel from your dashboard by hovering over Appearances and selecting Menus. Click Create New Menu. We'll call ours Footer Nav. You can call it whatever you like. From the display location, select Footer Links, Bold Footer Only. We'll then add our contact, disclosure, and privacy policy pages to the menu. Save the menu. If you go back to your home page and refresh the page, then scroll down to the bottom, you'll see that your footer menu is now here, with links to the pages. Now, we'd like to give you a quick run-through of the WP Bakery plugin. WP Bakery, formerly Visual Composer, is one of the most widely used drag-and-drop page builders. It's packaged with many of the biggest premium themes who don't have their own built-in page builders, or you can download and install the plugin separately. WP Bakery features both a front-end and back-end builder. To access the WP Bakery page builder from the WordPress dashboard, hover over Pages and select Add New. Just enter any title for now. To open up the WP Bakery backend builder, click Backend Editor. That will open up this panel here. The backend page builder comes with almost all the front-end builder functionality, but you won't be able to see your changes in real time. You can create your page by importing a page template, or by building your page from scratch by adding, editing, and deleting elements. From the left, we have the elements where you can add an element like button, text box, image, etc. to the page. Then, templates, where you can import a pre-created layout from a template. The full screen option, and then the page settings where you can add custom CSS. If you don't have any content, you will also see some of the import settings here. To import the template, click this icon here or on the Add Template button. Here are all the page templates for the demo you have imported. The other two tabs, Template Library is where you can access WP Bakery templates. And in My Templates, you can access templates you created by saving the layouts of pages you built. In Default Templates, you can click this arrow to review the structure of a template. Then, click the plus icon to import it to the page. That will import the structure onto your page. If we preview it, you will see that the blocks here correspond to the content on the page. You can add your own elements by clicking this icon. You can filter elements by using the tabs here or by searching for a specific element. We'll add in a text block. This will open up the Edit Element panel that you can see here. Add a title for your page above the dummy content. Select it and choose Heading 2 from the drop-down. We'll also center align all the text. That'll give us a nice title and intro paragraph for the page. If you switch over to the Design tab, you'll see some styling options. These will be different depending on which element we're talking about. Here, you can style the spacing by adjusting margins, padding, etc. And to the right are some color and other styling options. If you're happy with an element, click Save Changes. You can edit an element, column, or row at any time by clicking this icon. It's best to think of pages in terms of rows and columns. For example, you can change the column structure here, and the element will no longer take up the full page. You can then add an element next to it in the other column. You can also add elements to a column by clicking this plus icon here. That will add another element beneath our text element. You can duplicate elements, rows, or columns with this icon. By clicking and holding here, you can drag them into place. This X icon is for deleting any element, column, or row. Now, to open the front-end builder, save your changes. Then, go to the top and click on Front-end Builder. You will see the same options at the top. However, in the Front-end Builder, you can also switch to various tablet or mobile screens to make sure your design is mobile responsive. If you hover over an element, you will see the same options pop up for the row in blue, the column in orange, and the element in green. You can drag them around, duplicate, delete, and edit them just like the backend builder. You can also add in elements by clicking the same plus icon. The only difference is that you will be able to see your changes live. In the documentation, you will find a tutorial on recreating a magazine layout homepage. We suggest you run through it to get to grips with how to use the WP Bakery plugin on CheerUp. We also added a link to a great WP Bakery video tutorial on the OHKLYN post here. If you have followed along, you will have customized a significant portion of your content, including creating new pages, posts, categories, menus, updating the sidebar and footer, etc. If you've done that, or once you've finished doing that, you'll then need to go through and delete any of the demo content that's still remaining. To delete posts or pages, go to either the All Posts or All Pages tabs. Hover over the page or post you want to delete, then select Trash. This will move the post or page to the Trash tab, but not permanently delete it. To permanently delete content, navigate to the Trash tab, then hover over the title and select Delete Permanently. You can also trash or delete items in bulk by checking the boxes next to them and then choosing Delete from the Bulk Actions drop-down. Go through and delete any of the posts and pages that you don't want to repurpose for your blog. Next is any categories or tags that have been created that you don't want to use. We deleted our categories earlier, however, we will need to delete any tags we're not using. To do this, hover over Posts in the admin menu and select Tags. You can either hover over the tag name and select Delete, or check the box to bulk select tags. Then under the Bulk Actions drop-down, select Delete and click Apply. Next, we'll delete any of the comments that were imported with the content. To do this, choose Comments from the admin menu, then select the comments you want to remove. Select Move to Trash. Once again, to permanently delete these, go to the Trash folder and permanently delete them there. Now is a good time to think about how you want to approach comments on your blog. You can disable comments on individual posts, or you can manage your global comment settings by hovering over the Settings tab in the admin menu and selecting Discussions. For more info on the core WordPress settings, review our How to Use WordPress video or blog post, which goes through this in detail. It also covers how to add your photo and information as a blog author using Gravatar. You may also want to delete any images or media items you're not using from your media library, which you can navigate to by hovering over Media in the admin menu and selecting Library. If you decide that you want to use a contact form on your blog for people to reach out, then you can either embed a form or leverage your favorite contact form plugin. CheerUp supports Contact Form 7 and is what they have included on their demo contact page. Contact Form 7 uses a shortcode to embed the contact form. For those unfamiliar with Contact Form 7, we've added a link to a tutorial on the OHKLYN post for your reference. Once you've got your blog looking the way you want and you're ready to launch your site, there's a few good practices that you should follow to ensure you get the best results. If you want your blog to be searchable via search engines like Google, then you will need to index your blog. To learn how to do this, we've added a link to our video on the OHKLYN post here. In this video, we'll show you step by step how to add your blog to Google search. Similarly, if you want to monitor traffic and user behavior on your blog, then you will want to install Google Analytics. Yes, we've created a video on how to add Google Analytics to your blogs as well. You can find the link on the OHKLYN post here. And that wraps up our How to Start a Fashion, Beauty or Lifestyle blog tutorial using WordPress. If you like this video, hit the like button and remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos related to WordPress, digital marketing, and how to run a successful site. Your feedback is appreciated, so please leave a comment below and tell us what you liked or if there was anything you found difficult, so that we can put together additional videos to help support you as you build out your site. To get access to exclusive discounts, free tutorials, and to stay in the loop on the latest updates, sign up to our newsletter at OHKLYN, OHKLYN.com. And until next time, happy building!